Thank you. So hello everyone, I'm Eva Harmel coming from the company Zavita, and I will present the last case study being specific due to the cross-border aspect of the area, so Nova Gorica, Gorica. Next one. So the case study is dealing with the cross-border area on the two sides of Italian-Slovenian border. And as a consequence of two nations and cultures, many differences appear in a social aspect, as well as several barriers and obstacles are present due to the administrative, legislative, language, and other differences. Maybe just some background. After the signing of the Paris Agreement, Gorica was for the first time in history no longer the center of the area. Because the border deprived Gorica in Italy of its hinterland. On the other side, in Yugoslavia, there was a suburban settlement. So this is why Gorica focused its development of building new residential districts to satisfy the increasing demand of new housing. And on the other hand, Nova Gorica is a planned city designed at the end of 1940. So nowadays, as a consequence of the recent construction, Nova Gorica is a city with a low average age, a higher level of education than the rest of the country, and with really active youth life. On the contrary, population in aging in Gorica ranking is one of the cities with the highest average age in Italy. The knowledge of Italian language is still widespread in Nova Gorica due to the high number of cross-border workers, and the flows of daily labor commuting show an important connection with the neighboring Gorica. So, however, the Nova Gorica and Gorica conurbation is becoming increasingly connected. The European Grouping of Territorial Cooperation is an European legal instrument. It is designed to facilitate and promote cross-border, transnational and interregional cooperation, primarily to overcome the difficulties encountered in implementing and managing the projects in the field of territorial cooperation. So EGTC Go was established in 2011 in order to strengthen the local cooperation of the twin cities, covering higher education, urban planning, transport, management, and management of water courses. Next one, please. So the outline of the quality of life concept in Slovenia, it was already presented by Tomáš's presentation. However, the quality of life measurement framework is not established in Slovenia yet, but the quality of life is an important part of strategic documents on all administrative levels. So the most important or strategic one is the Slovenian Development Strategy 2030. It's the core development framework, and the primary objective of the strategy is to provide a quite high quality of life for all. Then the spatial planning strategy of Slovenia 2050, which is still in the preparation phase, is a strategic national document delivering long-term strategic goals for the country. More in detail, it sets 5 goals, one of them being quality of life in urban and rural areas. And I think it's important to highlight that the strategy recommends 4 indicators to monitor this goal. Maybe 2 more strategic documents to mention are the National Housing Program, which focus on providing a good quality of life for vulnerable population groups, and active aging strategy, which also has one of 3 goals, well-being for all generation, fair and safe living in the home environment, and the high level of human rights. On the regional level, there's this regional development plan of Severna Primorska. It defines 3 priorities. Again, one of those is being connected to the improvement of the quality of life. And then the municipal level, municipal spatial plan of the city of Nova Gorica aims to generate growth and enhance social well-being and the freedom of individuals while preserving the environment and landscape diversity. The plan, however, does not set any explicit objectives with measurable indicators for the quality of life. The impact of the municipal plan is though evaluated using measurable indicators in the environmental report, which assess the impact of the plan. Next one. In Italy, some elements and dimensions of the territorial quality of life can be found at national, regional, and local levels, and in the related system of well-being and sustainability, BES, monitoring indicators. The National Sustainable Development Strategy evaluates the related actions and results through a set of indicators that are in line with this well-being and sustainability monitoring system. Friuli Venezia Giulia started recently the process to draft the Regional Sustainable Development Strategy. It determines 3 priority areas, 12 guidelines and related specific actions as shown on the picture below. Then the process underlying this strategic decision is based on mapping the best practices and projects present in the territory and consultation of municipal authorities to understand the situation of green city dimensions. Next one. So comparison of the use of quality of life in policy context. In Slovenia, the first attempt has been made with the process of drafting the regional development programs 2021 to 27, where a set of indicators has been developed to measure quality of life aspects at the regional level, and within the, especially to highlight the objective 1, so increase the quality of life in all regions with balanced economic, social, and environmental development based on the principles of sustainable development. The realization of this objective will be monitored through 12 areas of quality of life. And for individual area of quality of life, key indicators are selected as mandatory indicators for measuring regional policy objectives, and it is also providing some supplementary or explanatory indicators. On the other hand, in Italy, the report on equitable and sustainable well-being already comprehensively describes the Gorica's quality of life and has been already institutionalized. Next one, please. Considering the measurement of cross-border dimension of quality of life, the cross-border activities are monitored in the context of EU regional policy Interreg, using mostly output indicators, which could provide a basis for evaluating the quality of cross-border initiatives and services. And these are the Interreg Italy, Slovenia, and the indicators developed within the integrated territorial investment. The fact that the boundary and barriers have recently become more permeable attracts a number of initiatives and investments to strengthen the cross-border cooperation, which also contribute to the quality of life in Nova Gorica. Maybe just to mention Izonzo Socha cross-border nature park project and building a cross-border healthcare network. However, the structured collection of cross-border data obtained through this project implementation is not established, and also the project indicators are often being monitored just during the project implementation, so it does not provide to track the trends. Next one. Then the data has been gathered from different publicly available sources and institutions, since no systematic and centralized provision of data has been established yet. In accordance with the figures above, it appears that the data gathered covers most of the subdomains defined in the territorial quality of life concept model. The main problem common to both cities is that the detailed data is often not publicly available and that the warehouse where collected indicators just hasn't been developed yet. Next one. There are already some signals and seeds of citizen-centric participatory practice. For instance, the participatory budget framework, which municipality of Nova Gorica ensures cooperation with local inhabitants. So the citizens' suggestions can impact the development of the area. However, considering the volume of the participatory budget, it's not yet on the stage where it could adequately address all the needs and problems. And yes, citizen participation experience is still episodic and do not cover all the inhabitants' needs or problems, as well as current and future initiatives. So we conclude there's a big potential providing better quality of life by ensuring early involvement of local inhabitants in the processes of policy development and project preparation at municipal and at cross-border level. Next one, please. So a short exercise was also implemented during the interviews with the representatives of local stakeholders. Interviews were asked to assess the extent to which individual domain contribute to overall quality of life in Nova Gorica or in Gorica. And these misperceptions versus fact-based evidence exercise should have been implemented with a broader stakeholder list and implemented on the regular, maybe annual measurement that could provide an insight on how the implemented measures and projects are successful at addressing the cross-border disparities. Next one. So coming to conclusions, the EGTC Go work has brought remarkable and tangible improvements in forming common public services, social work, healthcare services, and generating initial economies of scale. An integrated and comprehensive framework to develop and measure quality of life related policies and projects would foster the cooperation and information flows between different institutions and also departments within the municipalities. Next one. The previous. The data gaps at the municipal level are significant both for Gorica and Nova Gorica, and it also increases when all other municipalities are considered. It's crucial to agree on centralized and strategic approach for monitoring enablers and outcome indicators on both sides of the border, and specifically in cross-border projects to assess the impacts of policies, including EU-funded programs. The quality of life should be recognized as a cross-cutting topic, and its monitoring of crucial relevance to strengthen the cooperation with relevant representatives of all municipalities and the territorial cohesion. It would also be reasonable to collect data at the municipal level based on the territorial quality of life concept delivered by this project. Next one. So the following recommendations would allow territorial stakeholders to tackle the potential negative trends in terms of quality of life, supporting a response to undesirable effects. Building up a framework for collecting not only input and output indicators, but also outcome and subjective ones, to measure the impacts of policies comprehensively and would enable the monitoring and evaluation of Interreg programs and projects. The monitoring indicators set within different projects should be publicly available, as well as all the concrete data gathered within their implementation. And also a strategic, integrated and systemic approach toward monitoring of quality of life would provide a pivotal source of data that could be used for territorial planning. Next one. The introduction of the territorial quality of life dashboard as an instrument to monitor policy progress would offer a common, structured and neutral ground to develop integrated policies. For example, national and regional sustainable development strategies could adopt the territorial quality of life framework for policy monitoring, and also the equitable and sustainable well-being BES dataset, which is monitored in Italy, should be further developed to measure the cross-border quality of life. Then, in general, citizens' involvement in the definition in quality of life related projects would allow for their better implementation and evaluation in terms of effectiveness. The further implementation of the citizen-centric approach would not only raise citizens' awareness of territorial development, but could provide the relevant information for future local development and quality of life scenarios. 2 levels of survey implementation between local citizens and other stakeholders are suggested at the municipal level, so that municipalities can use this data for informing strategies and development plans and enabling the participatory approach, and also on the territorial level of EGTC Go to meet the needs of the cross-border area. The measurement of subjective indicators could provide meaningful guidance on the social cohesion processes and collaborative practices for community building. Next one. And thank you for your attention.